Hey everybody, it's me, Floki. Back on the Block Hermit server for another video. Again, doing these quite often now, trying to catch up on all the things going on. I have been talking a lot, it's kind of one of the quintessential pieces of Pass is our clock. And I think I've got an awesome system that's working. I've been fighting through the redstone through it for so long, and then I saw a video by Mumbo where he made a redcoder, and I'm like, that's exactly what I needed. So kind of show you guys through what exactly this build is and how it works. Let me go here. I've looked up, when I went to go and make a clock, I looked up other people who had done it, and they had all used systems where basically it started a clock, a literal redstone clock that ticked off and then would reset, basically set itself during the day. We're on Block Hermit, so I can't use clock circuits. So to get around that, what I basically had done before is I used a system that was a not and gate to make it work, and a whole bunch of not and gates off of daylight sensors. Well, after seeing Mumbo do his whole thing with the red coder going off of the new lecterns, I'm like, that's exactly what I need for going off a daylight sensor. It makes it so much cleaner, makes this work so much better. So this is a little bit hard to understand here to begin with, but at its heart, there are two red coders basically that I've got here. This, if you don't understand exactly what a red coder is, the idea is that you take the output from here, a daylight sensor, and you pick off the basically the what, and you only get a single signal from the maximum extent of that redstone. So you can see here it extends to here. I've only got one lamp turning on, and as we go through the day it'll increase. And so what this allows me to do is to go and section this off easily. So if you looked at my clock, I've got like 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and 12 o'clock. Well, the fun part of that is that if you think about how a clock works, and you go up to noon, and then the daylight sensor will start going back down. Well, that would go back to like 9 o'clock if it was starting out in the morning. Well, I wanted to go over to 3 o'clock. So basically how this works is I've got a red coder, and this is coded here for the morning, 6 o'clock, and this is coded for 9 o'clock, and then these last ones here are coded for noon. And what happens at noon when we hit the maximum peak here is that I've got a redstone signal that goes down all the way down, comes all the way back here, and goes over here, fires this piston right here, which I actually should do relatively soon, which will then push the redstone block over, and that will lock off my AM cycle, so it will not run in the run after the morning is over, after we hit noon, high noon. And then the PM cycle will start, so then it'll count down. So that's how I go and get this separate. There, it clicked over. Interesting that that's happening. So what this allows me to do, and that's kind of interesting exactly how that reacts. I might have to go and change this around a little bit. But so what this allows me to do is I can go and say play chimes at different times. I can go and do whatever I want from this because it's a clock circuit. The only thing is it appears that the whole thing fires right at noon. I don't know if I can play around with it to see how I can make it different. But so what I've got as part of this is I wanted to have it so that a chime would go off with the 1.14 update whenever villagers will start working, and then when villagers will stop working. So I've got an audible cue of knowing exactly when their workday is. And so I'm like, what's the coolest way to do this? And I'm thinking like Fred Flintstone, yabba dabba doo, his alarm goes off, and he goes running down the back of the dinosaur when he got the whistle. So that's what I've essentially created here. Is the closest thing I can do to a whistle. Oddly enough, when this just fired, it must be a one-tick pulse, because that just caused that to just stay up there. I might have to change this over to gravel so it actually goes back down. That's interesting. Anyway, so that's what this clock circuit does. It's not really a redstone clock, but it's a clock circuit in a way. And what I could actually do with this, what's so cool about this, I could be like, at these certain times, I want to have my my kelp farm fire or my other farm's fire or something else happen, I can wire that directly up to this clock circuit and run it. The way I've got it set up right now, it's only for the daylight hours. This is essentially a morning, this is an afternoon. It actually, and I have done this before, and it could be done again, is basically if I copy these two cells over here again, and then put the daylight sensors over into nighttime mode, I can actually do this for the night as well. It's not as accurate because the night comes on pretty quick, whereas the day seems to progress pretty slowly. But it can be done to go and get me a little bit accurate times. Like right now, what I've got is whenever this goes to night, and this is a night reset is what this does. It pushes the block back across and unlocks this. During the night, this just calls out high midnight, which is not exactly accurate, but it's something, I guess. But if you look at how the redstone works, it's probably around more about 3 a.m. is when that'll jump over. So that's what I got for you. I've been wanting to show this for a long time. Obviously, there's some little bugs in it because I definitely had an odd firing there at high noon. And as you can see, we're still in the noontime. It's straight up. Our sun is still out there. As we get down a little bit lower, we'll hit down to 3 o'clock and then 9. And then, yeah, all I have to do is from that clock circuit, I run just torch towers all the way up to each of the lights up there. And actually, all the chimes for the daytime, the chimes for the times, are actually up in this column here. Kind of makes it a little more realistic. The sound's actually coming from kind of up high. It kind of makes it feel a little more realistic, which I love. So that's what I got for you guys for today. I've been wanting to show you something about this for a long time because it is like the centerpiece of Pass. Like you can see this from any point in Pass. So, and that's how it was last season too. It's like this is the center of our town. This is this is how you know you're in Pass. So, anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.